As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
All right, everyone, welcome into another episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Dylan here with coming back after a good week for the model, a terrible week for me. But you know, I made the model. Model's making me money. I'm still making the bets. It's not like the model gets the money. Don't tell him that. But yeah, the big losses across the board on my end. They all started looking good, and then everyone decided to stop playing, at halftime for the teams that I needed. But it didn't matter because the models wins made up for my losses. So let's talk about my losses first. I made how many bets did I make? Let's see here. 15. Made 15 bets. The model only made 2. Of those 15 bets, I hit 3. 1/3 of my bets hit. So it started off the San Francisco Rams game on Thursday night. I had the under 46.5. That didn't happen because they just went back and forth nonstop. And then I guess we'll just talk about it right here in the same game. Model had San Francisco. 12.5 units on that. If you remember, we're doing 3 types of betting. So I just kind of summed all the units together. So 12.5 total units. We had 10 from the Kelly criterion, 1 from the straight betting, and then that would have to be 1.5 from the dynamic wager. So for a total of 12.5 units, or $125, that hit. And we ended up winning $312.50 as it hit on the plus 250 money line. Tennessee, Arizona, I had the under 41.5 there. That didn't happen because Arizona decided that, hey, Tennessee, you're not the worst team in the league. We are. And let them come back and get that win. That was the other pick that the model had. We put 13 units, so $130 at plus 350 to win $455 on that bet. So 2 for 2 for the model in week 5. That will put the model up. Let's see how many doll hairs. If I can find my damn website. Oh, come on. Load. The model is up. Nope. Sorry. 85.84 units. So currently up $858.40, ROI of 109.7%. This is the crazy part. And this will not continue. I will tell you that right now. We're on a very good streak right now. Should probably just stop betting. We should probably just be done for the season and be happy. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go the whole way through the season. Win rate for the model, 66.67%. So 2/3 of the model's bets are hitting. That will change, I promise. If we look at the all-time hit rate for the model's bets, it's at 47.1%. Now remember, we don't care about that. We don't care how often we are hitting. We care about profitability. Yes, it's fun to win all the time, but if you're only getting little wins here and there, they don't add up to a massive win like the model has been getting here this season. So while we hope it to continue, probability says it won't. So just keep that in mind going forward. But we're going to keep it going. It has been exciting there. Let's get back to my losses. Talked about the model's 2 wins this week. I had Miami winning, and Miami covering 1.5. Nope, didn't happen there. The Giants, I had them winning and covering the 2-point spread. Dart decided to throw like 3 interceptions, and that didn't work. Philadelphia, spread 3.5 points and win. Nope, neither of those hit because I guess AJ Brown was like, no one's getting this ball but me in the end zone there. That was a bad loss for them. The only money line and spread bet I hit in week 5 was on Dallas, which that makes me feel gross. But I had the Dallas win at minus 142 and Dallas to cover 2.5 at minus 112. Dak looks good. Javonte looks great. That offense is powerful. Once CeeDee Lamb gets back, they should really have More in the tank here. Their defense is just big duty, but it is fun to watch on the offensive side, and of course, really fun for your fantasy bets. Chargers decided to lose the game pretty badly. They lost. I had them on the money line and 2.5 point spread. They lost that, and they lost to Marion Hampton. So he is going to be on IR here for at least 4 weeks. And then my final win of week 5 was the under 50.5 points for New England and Buffalo. Buffalo losing that one as well. So a very, very weird week. And then the final killer for me, Kansas City -3, and I had them winning. That Jacksonville defense is real. The offense stumbled into the win, but that defense is for sure real. Kind of fun to see. It's more fun to see Kansas City lose, and they have to pretend that the Taylor Swift album on the flight home is good to make little Kelsey happy. Uh, they keep losing, and how far will this go remains to be seen. But let's hop into week 6. We're into it. We have more teams on bye this week. But we will get into these matchups right now. We have for Thursday night football, we have the 4-1 Eagles, who just had their first loss, going to New York to take on the 1-4 Giants. Eagles 7.5 point away favorites, over under set at 40.5. I don't want none of this. The Giants, they're fun to watch. We like Skatibo, we like Jackson Dart. But watching Dart with these turnovers last week was a little rough to see. The Philadelphia defense is good. They are, let's see here, the 4th ranked defense by PFF. Even with that loss, it's still a good defense. It was a bit more on the offensive side that was a problem for them last week. But expect them back in full form against the Giants on a short week. Barkley was a little banged up, but it sounds like he should be good to go. Tyrone Tracy might be back for this game, but Skatibo's still probably the dude there. So maybe, like an 80-20, 70-30 split with Skatibo leading the way. I have no bets here. The model has no bets here. So we can continue on into London. The London game, I don't know how this one's going to be for them. That's going to be kind of a boring game for them. But Denver taking on the Jets. Denver 7.5 point favorites. They're 3-2. Jets are winless. The only bet I have here is the under. Denver's defense is good. The Jets' offense isn't great, but they're also likely going to be playing from behind a good bit. So what Justin Fields will we get remains to be seen. He seems to be very on-off. Garrett Wilson should get enough volume to matter for your fantasy team. Breece Hall's the only guy in the backfield, so he will again get volume. Even Fields for fantasy purposes might be able to rush his way and get a ton of points like he did last week. But the Broncos defense is still very, very good. So I have the under here, 43.5 at -105. No bets here for the model. The Rams at 3-2 after losing to San Francisco when they really probably shouldn't have. Go to take on the 1-4 Ravens. Lamar looks like he is still going to be out, making the Rams a 7.5 point away favorite in Baltimore. Over under set at 44.5 points. Baltimore is on a massive, massive downfall. Cooper Rush, is he going to get the start again? Remains to be seen. I forget who their third string guy is. Let's find out really quick before we continue forward. Baltimore Ravens. Oh, they have nobody. Awesome. Didn't they? I swear I just saw them sign someone. Oh, they signed Tyler Huntley to their practice squad. So I don't know. They might just. What are you going to do? I don't think it matters who you start at quarterback here unless it is Lamar, and that's not going to happen, which means less scoring opportunities for the entire team. Derrick Henry has not looked good. I have him on one of my main fantasy team, and like he saved himself, if you want to call it that, with a touchdown, but he has not been able to really put up the yards per carry, and they need him. They need him because you can't be letting Cooper Rush throw these balls and causing turnovers. It just will not end up well for the team. Um, Ravens are in a very, very bad spot. If we go and we look up playoff probabilities here for the NFL, looking at the AFC, the Ravens currently only have a 14% chance mathematically of making the playoffs. Now, things can absolutely change down the line. Um, we're only a third of the way through the season, but as things stand right now, they do not even control their own destiny. They need some teams ahead of them to start losing. Otherwise, they could win out and still maybe not even make the playoffs. So on the other side of the ball, Stafford, he's, a decent enough start. Puka Nakua, you're always playing him. Kyron, you're always playing him. Devontae, likely a good enough start. The worry for the Rams, in terms of fantasy at least, is kind of the problem with the Eagles a lot of the time, is they'll get ahead and then they don't have to turn on the Jets anymore to get points. They're not worried about it. They're far enough ahead. Let's just get out of here, run that clock. Um, that's a possibility with the Rams, but that isn't going to stop you from playing their players. I have no bets for this game. The model has no bets for this game. Uh, it it's a dirty one. It's just a dirty game that I don't even think it's gonna be fun to watch, but it will be a game, which is sounds really stupid, but that's what's gonna happen. Uh, Dallas, 2-2-1, taking on the 2-3 Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are 3-point home underdogs, over under set at 49.5. I am gonna take the over here. With the way the Cowboys have been scoring, and then, Narrative Street on the other side of the ball, you get Rico, who put up over 200 rush yards last week, is coming back to Dallas and is gonna show them what they're missing. And then on the Dallas side of the ball, they're like, "Nah, we're missing nothing because check out Javante." And I think it's gonna be a big showing between those two guys. Pickens will, of course, get his as well. And then hopefully Tet McMillan on the Carolina side um, gets more involved. He's been involved, but really the scoring hasn't been there because I mean it's the Carolina Panthers. What do you want from them? Um, I think this will be a close game. I do have Dallas winning it and covering the spread, but I can see this being a back and forth game, which is why I took that over. Both of these defenses are bad. Dallas's defense is literally the worst in the league. So expect Rico, like I said, to really take it to them. Nothing from the model, just my bets here for that one. Arizona, Indianapolis, the Cardinals lost to what we thought was the worst team in the NFL. Turns out Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL. Just poor coaching, poor play. DeMarcado dropping the ball before getting into the end zone. It's the weirdest thing. I know a lot of people talk about it, but it really is. Like, that's not a new rule. Like, your entire football career, you gotta cross the damn um, you gotta break the plane with the ball in order to get the touchdown. This isn't new. Like, and what's the point? What why are you dropping the ball even if you get in the end zone? It's like, why are you trying to drop the ball so quickly? Um, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know if it's a celebration thing, lack of discipline, whatever you wanna call it. If you do that in the league, you should force suspension. 3 games, sit out, duct tape your hands to the ball, Friday Night Lights style, because that's just embarrassing. Uh, but the Colts should have this one in the bag pretty easily. They're 7-point home favorites, over under at 47.5. The model, however, is going to be betting on Arizona to win this one at plus, 1 not 1, that's definitely not a 1, plus 245. Plus 245. We get a single unit bet, of course, for the straight wager, 10 unit bet from the Kelly criterion, and then a unit and a quarter, 1.25 units for the dynamic betting. So not the most confidence in this bet from the model, but enough of an edge that it is still going to take it for a total of 12 and a quarter units at plus 245. So let's go Cardinals. I guess that doesn't feel great, but that's what we got going here for the model. Seattle, Jacksonville, Seahawks at 3-2 take on the Jags at 4-1. Like I said earlier, the Jacksonville defense looks fantastic. This should be a decent back and forth game. Over under set at 47.5. I think both offenses are decent enough, but like I said, the Jaguars defense might be the best in the league right now. That is highly, highly possible. And their offense is doing just enough to get them to win these games. I think Jacksonville gets this one simply because of the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be able to maybe shut down Darnold and the crew. Not completely, but enough to get the win. I have Jacksonville winning at minus 118 and covering the 1.5 spread at minus 105. No bet for the model here. Model only has one more bet, and that will be on the last game of the week. Chargers, Miami. This game sounded fun on paper, at the start of the season, but now 3-2 Chargers, Murray and Hampton out. Their offense has just looked horrible. The Dolphins, one of the worst defenses in the league. Tyreek is out, but Waddle has been getting it done. They should have won last week, and they didn't. Waller's getting involved. He's doing a decent enough job. Chargers are 4-point away favorites, which at this point I don't really like at all. The 43.5 over under. I think this will be a good fantasy game. For both teams. See a lot of chip downs to Keenan Allen get these points. Quentin Johnston should get his. And in theory, that should mean Justin Herbert has a good game, but he's been not great fantasy wise since week one. Dolphin side of the ball, Achane, Waddle, Waller. That's really all you need here. Tua somehow stays irrelevant in fantasy. But it should be an okay enough game, but definitely not as exciting as it could have been. The injuries kind of ruined that one. So no bets here. Just enjoy. Cleveland, Pittsburgh Steelers. Dylan Gabriel is now officially locked in as the starting quarterback as they shipped off Joe Flacco to Cincinnati. Steelers are 5.5-point home favorites. These past couple weeks, not including the bye, their defense has seemed to have gotten it together a bit. However, I don't want to make this bet, so I won't. This is the exact type of game Tomlin loses. We've seen it before. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before that. We've seen it every year that Tomlin has been coaching. So I would not be surprised if the Browns at least cover and maybe even win this game. It just happens time after time. Divisional matchup, Tomlin football. It's exactly what happens. But Pittsburgh's defense seems to be coming around. Cleveland's defense also very good, obviously. So I can see a low-scoring game here. The line is at 38.5, so that's a little bit of a roughen. So expect a dirty, gritty football game, which is, that's AFC North football. That is what we expect. But don't be surprised if the Steelers lose. I've seen it my whole life. It hurts. I don't want to talk about this game anymore. Let's get out of here. New England, New Orleans. New England 3.5-point away favorites at 3-2. New Orleans 1-4. Got their first win last week. Over under at 46 points. I got nothing for this game. I don't even want to watch it. Drake May looks good enough. The Saints are still bad. They got very lucky with that win. It was kind of given to them more than it was taken. I don't expect much. Like I said, I don't even want to watch this game. It's going to be a snooze fest. Let's get out of here. Tennessee, Las Vegas. Tennessee got their first win against Arizona. As we talked about, both teams sitting here at 1-4. However, I still think the Titans are pretty bad, and the Raiders are like slightly a tier above them. So I will be taking the Raiders to win this game. I was able to get them at a 1.5 spread here at -106. They're currently -4.5. So looks like I got in there at the right time. Over under 41.5 points. Ashton Genty should be getting more involved. He looks, you know, I don't want to say good, but good enough, better than he was at the start of the season. Geno Smith, I don't know what his deal is. Jacoby did a bunch of nothing last week too. Brock Bowers has been fully cleared, so hopefully that gets them back on the right track. But yeah, I'll be taking the Raiders here to get the win. I read that as 1.5. That's my bad. 3.5. -3.5, not -1.5. I was like, how did I get that line? And I'll tell you how. I hit the wrong number on my notes here. So I had to go back and actually check the bet slip. My bad. Vegas -3.5 at -106. San Francisco, Tampa Bay. San Francisco able to pull out a win last week. Both teams here at 4-1. Tampa Bay -3-point home favorites. I think they get the win and the cover of the spread. I got the spread -3 at -105 and the money line at -154. Tampa Bay looks good. Baker is the MVP. He's great, fun to watch. Other side of the ball, they're banged up like crazy, like no other. Can they pull out a win again with Mac Jones? We'll find out. I don't think so. I think Tampa has looked good enough and shown that they're resilient. They were in a close one with Seattle last week, but they were able to pull it out because Baker gonna bake. And that's what I expect from this game as well. The 4-1 for the 49ers um, win-loss feels incorrect, and that's kind of been their story. They tend to get these good win-loss numbers, but can never go far in playoffs when they make it. That seems to be happening yet again. I don't know what Kyle Shanahan does over there, but it every player just gets like hurt. it, I don't know what it is. Look at it. They're all leg injuries too. Nick Bosa, leg, IR. George Kittle, leg, IR. Ricky Pearsall, leg, questionable. Gross Matos, leg, doubtful. Mac Jones, leg, questionable. Purdy, leg, questionable. Juan Jennings, leg, questionable. What's he doing? He's just taking bricks to their knees? I don't know, man. But 49ers getting banged up as usual. This is, again, just a normal thing for San Francisco. We see it every year. No bet for the model. I got Tampa the winning cover. Bengals, Packers. Bengals now with Joe Flacco set to start at 2-3. Jake Browning, take a seat. Packers, -14 home favorites. Joe Flacco just beat them. Can he do it again? Probably not, but it would be pretty funny to watch. Maybe Joe Burrow, not Joe. Maybe Jamar Chase gets back into it a bit here. They're going to be playing catch up, I think, a lot of this game. Their defense being the Bengals defense is bad. So the Packers should be able to put up points here at will with that offense. And, hopefully Jamar, Higgins, they get the ball chucked to them as much as possible because they're going to be down almost all of this game. I got only the over here because I think Green Bay's going to be able to score whenever they want, and Cincinnati's going to have to really chuck the ball, which will allow for some scoring opportunities. I got the over set at 44.5, and I am taking that over at -104. Detroit, Kansas City. This line makes no sense to me. Kansas City did not look good except for Mahomes. Mahomes put that entire game on his back last week, and they still couldn't do it. Maybe they pull it together here at home. But I think Detroit is just a better team. I got them covering their plus 2.5 point spread. at minus 110. Also going to take the under here. 53 points feels like a lot. Both teams, the offense are good enough. The Detroit defense has been good, and the Kansas City defense has been good. So I think with two good offenses, and with two good defenses, um, I don't think we're going to have the shootout everyone is expecting here. But I do have Detroit getting the win here, covering the spread at plus 2.5. Money line. I actually did not take the money line bet on Detroit for some reason. I'm gonna put that in right now. Plus, what we got? Plus 118 on FanDuel. So I will put that in and show my commitment to Detroit. Hopefully they get it done here. Gibbs and the crew, Amon Ra's been looking great. I think they can get it done against Kansas City, who has been in an absolute free fall. Two Monday Night Football games. Buffalo and Atlanta is the first one here. Buffalo had the loss last week. That felt fluky. But Atlanta coming back here off their bye, 4.5-point underdogs at home, over under set at 49.5. Give me the Bills. It's not often that you can get the Bills at a line this low, minus 4.5. So I will be taking that. Minus 4.5 at minus 114 for the spread. Nothing for the model. And that's the only bet on this game. I think Josh Allen and the crew, they're going to bounce back here. I don't know what's going on with their receivers. McDermott was mad at Keon Coleman for some reason. So who knows what's going to happen there. James Cook should be able to go off pretty well as Bijan. So we might just have a back and forth run game here. Which if that's the case, maybe this 49.5 is a good time to take the under as well. So keep an eye out for that. Final matchup of the week, the 2-2 Bears coming off a bye take on the 3-2 Commanders, who have Jaden Daniels back. So Jaden versus Caleb. Washington 4.5-point favorites. Over under is 49.5. This actually will be a fun game. I wouldn't have thought so, 2-3 weeks ago, but this actually seems like a decent enough matchup and one worthy enough for Monday Night Football. This is also going to be the final model bet. The model has Chicago winning this. They have them at plus 190 for a total bet of 12.25 units or $122.50. Single unit bet, and then 1.25 for the dynamic, and then 10 for the Kelly criterion. So yeah, go Bears, which I never really thought I would say. I also think there's going to be decent fantasy output here. The Bears had a lot of time to plan for this one with the bye week. Jaden Daniels is back, which means there should be some good offensive scoring. Bill Krosky has looked good last week. He might have had his actual full-on breakout. So expect some decent fantasy points in this game. But that will do it here. Thank you for listening yet again. Let's keep the money rolling in, and we'll see everyone. Well, maybe not next week or the one after, because I will be in Las Vegas, but I will be sure to keep the website updated, sleepingwiththenumbers.com/bets, with all of our bets, and then Action Network, SWTN_model will have all of the models bets on there. So even if there's not a podcast out, the bets will still be tracked and logged on the website. So please keep an eye out there, and best of luck to you this week. Bye-bye.